You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Now, folks, a group of House Democrats there concerned the provision ending qualified immunity for law enforcement officers will not be part of the final George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. As negotiations over the contentious bill intensify, House Representatives Ayanna Pressley, Cori Bush, and 8 other representatives sent a letter to leaders in the House and Senate urging them to keep qualified immunity in the bill. During an interview on MSNBC's The Sunday Show with Jonathon Capehart, Congresswoman Maxine Waters explained why it's so important to end qualified immunity.
Our negotiators are fighting as hard as they can and should continue to fight. But I'm not giving up on qualified immunity. I do not want to send any message to anybody that I'm willing to support legislation that does not have it in it. I think we've got to be tough, we've got to be consistent, and understand that we've got to hold police officers accountable. Even since the death of George Floyd, we've continued to have killings of black unarmed men in particular. And so these police officers know that they have the support of the police unions, they have the support of city council members who are intimidated by the police unions, police chiefs who are afraid that if they don't go along, they can't be chief, and even some mayors. I'm so proud of those mayors that are willing to stand up and fight, and for the police chiefs that are willing to stand up and fight. But history tells us that they have been intimidated too long, given in too much, and the police don't believe that they're going to be held accountable. That's why even after George Floyd, they continue to kill. And so I want qualified immunity out.
Now, of course, Congressman Jim Clyburn, the highest-ranking African-American in the House, he talked about, he said he would rather have a strong bill instead of a perfect bill. So if it means not having qualified immunity in the bill, he said he would certainly support that, he said, and try to get it later. Congresswoman Waters said that's not an option. And so what you're dealing with, folks, right here, Julian, is this battle. And so the question is, they're negotiating in the Senate. You're dealing with the issue, can you get Republicans' votes? It's clear Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin are not going to end the filibuster. And so this is one of the issues. They're working with Senator Tim Scott, Senator Lindsey Graham on this bill. The question is, will they be able to get a bill that can pick up Republican votes in the Senate that does indeed end qualified immunity?
And the problem, Roland, is that having Congressman Clyburn having come out and said he would support a compromise before we've even had the full negotiations weakens, frankly, the Democratic position, weakens Congresswoman Waters' position. And so as we waffle, and this is what Democrats do, you see these Republicans, they vote party line, they're not playing, they will talk to you behind their colleagues' back and say, oh, I really didn't agree with that, but I have to go with the party line. Democrats don't have that kind of backbone. And so my prediction is that qualified immunity will likely remain. I don't think it will go if we want a bill. And I'm with Congresswoman Waters. I mean, it's one of the things that must go. Every video you showed us leading up to this point in the show talks about police officers who are deficient, to use Avis's word, who are evil, who broke the law. And they should not they should not have the right to their pension, the right to retire, the right to whatever. They need to go to jail. They need to have their assets stripped from them. They need to be put in a small room with a big dog and sharp teeth. That's all they really need. They do not need all this grace. But why are we as Democrats giving them that grace?
Congo, on that point, many people have criticized Congressman Clyburn. Others have said that this was Clyburn who was going public to give an indication that it was contentious and being able to let people know that this is a possibility. How do you square what he had to say than what Congresswoman Waters there had to say, and these other progressive Democrats who are saying ending qualified immunity must be in the final bill?
Well, with Representative Clyburn, you know, he's such a veteran and a leader, and I definitely respect what he's saying in terms of, you know, we have something that's good and we can come back and get it later. And I respect that. The challenge, however, is that we are dealing with a different brand of Republicans right now. And I believe that even with Senator Scott and Graham working on this, regardless of whether qualified immunity is included or not, no Republicans are going to come out and support it. Something's going to happen. Trump's going to speak up. Someone's going to make some phone calls. And I wouldn't be surprised if Graham backs out on their own bill that they agreed to. This group of Republicans are going to block everything in hopes of getting control of the House again in 2022. And so I respect what Clyburn's saying. He knows the process, much better than I do, but it's a different brand of Republicans. And so I understand why Ayanna Pressley and Cori Bush and others are fighting to get it in now, because there's no reason to trust these Republicans to do the right thing. And so I'm with Representative Waters on this.
So the question is this here, Avis. Do you, if you're Democrats, let's say you can't get 10 votes unless you strip qualified immunity out of the bill. Well, then, do you scuttle the entire bill?
I would say this. I don't see why we really need to get here, because as I recall, Tim Scott has at least offered a compromise that would have a form, it would really sort of redirect the focus, not to individual police officers, but to actual police departments, which I think is at least a compromise to mean that there is some financial culpability on the line when police officers act in abusive ways. I think that is a compromise that I'm not willing to give up on a chance of actually pushing through. So, I'm really quite, with all due respect to Representative Clyburn, I'm just wondering, how come Democrats don't seem to understand what negotiations are all about? Why are you showing your hands while, why are you capitulating, in essence, while the negotiations are still going on? That makes no sense to me. It's like showing your hand in the middle of a poker game. It makes absolutely zero sense to me. And I just, I don't get it. So what we really need to understand is you don't go through a negotiation process giving the chip that you supposedly value most in the middle of the darn negotiations. That makes absolutely zero sense to me. I think you put pressure on them to move forward with what Tim Scott, a Republican, the only Black Republican in the Senate, has proposed. What does it look like? And put pressure on the Republican Party to, in essence, undermine their Black face that they just have, give the rebuttal to the presidential address that President Biden just gave a couple of weeks ago. Make the Republican Party say no to Tim Scott, rather than telling Democrats to stand down and don't even try to do anything in the direction of qualified immunity.
Folks, back to that Roland Unfiltered video in just one moment.
Racial injustice is a scourge on this nation, and the Black community has felt it for generations. We have an obligation to do something about it. Whether it's canceling student debt, increasing the minimum wage, or investing in Black-owned businesses, the Black community deserves so much better. I'm Nina Turner, and I'm running for Congress to do something about it.